Starting to the bottom right, we have the Wounding Stars player. He's starting in red, and it is, of course,
Wounding Stars Fly.
Flying, like you said, very known for being out there with his play, kind of cheesy at times.
And he's up against veteran, starting to the top left, a former StarTale player. We have
SK Telecom T1 PartinG.
PartinG's kind of had a lot of team changes in his history. He used to be on FOU way back in the days, and really found his home in StarTale for a while. A lot of moving around, but definitely still a top-tier player. Protoss vs. Protoss these days seems to be all about the scouting information. If you can know what your opponent's doing, you can react to it, but if you don't see it, sometimes you end up losing. So there's a lot of different ways to scout. We sometimes see really fast Mothership Core scouts, and the hallucination scouts are really important.
the stats that you just saw on screen are the stats in WCS, basically in the GSL, as more of achievement points since they also include Wings of Liberty. But as we are in the first game of the series, let me give you the rundown of what those players accomplished in Heart of the Swarm in offline matches. PartinG with 26 maps played, won 18 of them. He's 18-8, and he therefore won in 69%. Also played one game already against Flying. That was back in Pro League in May. And he took the match. He took the best of one. Flying, on the other hand, he's a little bit worse in this matchup. He only played 11 maps, so just basically half of the games that PartinG played in this matchup offline on televised matches. And Flying only took 6 of those. So he has a 55 win percentage against Protoss. Not the best record here. Keep in mind he already lost to PartinG in the past. So PartinG definitely the more accomplished player out there, the player with a more solid PvP. But in a best-of-3 series like this, anything can happen, so you have to be really careful, especially in a mirror matchup.
Yeah, really careful. Scouting oh so important. Both players going for a second gate here, and this allows them to get scouting with their Stalkers, put a lot of pressure on their opponents. When you put the pressure on with the Stalkers, sometimes you can catch the Mothership Core, you might be able to trade against a Stalker, but if you are really getting all the way up to the ramp, you maybe force a Sentry to be warped in instead of a Stalker, which slows down your opponent's tech.
Yeah, at this point you have both of them, as already mentioned, going into the double gateway, and this is a very aggressive build that we've seen a lot. Sometimes you see a one gate with an early attack going up against the double gateway. We can still hold this, as already pointed out by Wolf here, but in this particular scenario, both of them go for exactly the same build. You can really see that the timings are basically identical on the production tab. Just the Mothership Core a little bit faster here for Flying at the bottom right. But let's see how this is going to plan out. The probe for PartinG is still active on the map. So far, Flying didn't actually send out anything that could scout here.
Yeah, nothing at all. They're both now sending, of course, those Mothership Cores to the middle of the map with a Stalker to accompany them, so they're going to kind of meet here. I really like how PartinG sends his. He splits the two, making sure that he gets the most coverage possible with his scout.
Yeah, and with that scout, if you would have actually just looked at the Zanaga Watchtower, he would have found the Mothership Core, but he will, regardless, walks right into the path. Now immediately trying to take those hit points away and running into the Stalker. And this now suddenly is a very dire situation for PartinG. He's losing quite a lot of hit points here already. The shield's been taken out by the Mothership Core, but here come the reinforcements, and now it's time for Flying to hightail it out.
Yeah, he has to run away really fast. He does have his 2 additional Stalkers on the way. PartinG getting some very aggressive pylons up across the map. His Warp Gate Research is almost done. He's Chrono Boosted it. Will he get the Mothership Core? He's damaged it, but takes some hit points himself.
PartinG also going into the 3rd gate, whereas we have the Stargate for Flying. So Flying adding his tech here, and PartinG seems to play a very gateway-heavy build. He could really try to overwhelm his opponent, but of course that Oracle that is being built by Flying is now a big issue. A pylon block to the right side, not only blocking a potential Nexus, but also, of course, creating a warp-in point for the SKT1 player.
Oh yeah, PartinG has got a great position here. The first Oracle is on the way, but that's not going to be very useful defensively, and even for counter-harassment, it's going to take so long to get across the map. This Mothership Core not going to be too big of a concern for PartinG. He has so many more pylons besides this one too.
The Mothership Core will have to recall back, and that's a bit of an issue.
He could force the ramp. He could force the ramp here, Cutter. He does. Now these Stalkers have nowhere to run.
God, they are trapped, and they will go down, all of them. The Mothership Core Flying goes to the top left, as does the Oracle. But if PartinG just swaps a few units in there, he should be completely fine. Now, of course, the Voidra being produced by Flying, he needs something in his base, but he already lost so much.
Yeah, here comes the warp and the Stalkers back at home for PartinG, forcing the recall, and it's also going to defend against the Oracle. This is such a terrible position for Flying.
Did you see that? Immediately the snipe on the Mothership Core once it arrived, and here comes the Oracle, and of course the Stalkers that have been warped in as a defense against the Mothership Core help out quite a bit. Here comes Flying with everything that he has, but PartinG in such a dominant position now.
PartinG doesn't even use the time warp yet. He's waiting until the last second. The Oracle, will it get away? It looks like it barely will,
You
but...
know, that Oracle actually got a significant amount of kills, 6 kills in total, so let's see what PartinG can do here. He needs to try to take down that Void Ray.
Yeah.
As soon as there are 2 or 3 Void Rays, Flying might be actually able to hold this.
And so far he's pushed this back really nicely. He's losing a lot of mine time, but he hasn't lost very many probes, and all the probes he's losing mine time with kind of equals out where PartinG, what he lost during that attack.
Yeah, and there we go again. Those Void Rays are just so good against Stalkers. PartinG is really in a spot where he has to do something because the tech is still out there for Flying. And let's keep in mind that the Wounding Stars player has 25 Harvesters against 20. So PartinG is now down in probes.
Yeah, down in probes, and let's see, I think, yeah, the robotics was cancelled for Flying. That's one thing to note, that PartinG does have a robo.
I really like that force field in him trapping all those Stalkers, taking them out, and the Mothership Core to the top left was also a little bit counterproductive if you think about how Flying forced PartinG to get anti-air there before the Oracle actually arrived. But in the end he did some damage with the Oracle, and now Flying is getting ahead in this game.
Yeah. The one thing he's missing is robotics tech, but with the second Void Ray being produced, he looks like he just wants to break out of here and maybe even try to put a contain counterwise onto PartinG here.
Yeah, nice position here with the Oracle moving in from a different direction, but there immediately the Stalkers and also, of course, the Nexus overcharge. And this is something that Flying realizes. He sees it and he's like, okay, well, running away won't help me. I will die here. So at least take down 2 additional probes to make it a bit more of an even trade.
Yeah, and it looks like PartinG's poised to take his Nexus here. So with that probe down there, he's got this contain, and with the force fields, he can buy so much time. Even with the Void Rays there, you can just keep force fielding him in exactly like this. He will have to be careful with his Stalkers, though.
Yeah, can he take those Void Rays? It doesn't look like it. He still has to move back, and this was really well done by Flying. PartinG already down Noble Supply, gets the space up a little bit faster, but still with the tech out on the map, Flying is still in a great position here.
Yeah, those Void Rays just do an insane amount of damage to the Stalkers, and with that much damage output, you never really want to stick around. Even if the rest of the army's forced to up the ramp, you just have to get out.
And Flying now taking the lead not only in the game, but also trying to get that momentum, taking out the first few pilots that are scattered across the map. He's in a really good spot here, and he tries to walk maybe up to the top left and do a little bit of poking here. We only have the Observer at the bottom right getting the scouting information, but at this point Flying has to feel really confident.
Yeah, he certainly should. The one thing PartinG still has going for him is that faster robo, and he's also getting a little bit faster of a Forge and a slightly faster Nexus, so all these things kind of work in his favor just a little bit. Yeah. But it just depends on how Flying transitions here. The Void Race he has really gives him a great defensive stance against the Immortals, and he may try to skip Immortals himself for a little while.
Yeah, but time is working for PartinG now that he started this earlier Nexus and that he got his Forge and also the Twilight out. So if Flying would have decided to walk across the map right away, I feel he could have done a lot here because of the lack of tech that we had of PartinG. And with only Stalkers and already the Zealots on the ground for Flying, he should have been able to shield those Void Rays quite well and do a lot of damage. But as it is, PartinG gets the time that he needs to not only catch up in the tech, but already get ahead.
Yeah, and part of this comes from that lack of vision. If he knew the Nexus was coming up that quickly with so few units, he definitely would have walked across the map. He didn't have the sentries out for hallucinations yet, and he didn't have an observer. So for him, walking across the map, he didn't know would have worked out for him, and he was a little bit concerned about maybe PartinG is just going to add some gateways, do an all-in instead. So that does definitely work in PartinG's favor. And the game really, really even right now. Templar Archives goes up for PartinG here. He's going to go into Archons before Colossi because he knows the Void Rays are definitely a threat for him.
So a pretty aggressive start into the game with a block on the ramp with a force field for PartinG, taking out the Stalkers. Flying kind of equalizing it after doing damage with the Oracle. And now we are in a position where both of them just getting their tech out, sitting tight for the time being on 2 bases, getting those upgrades. Tiny little bit faster for Flying here, but as already mentioned, the game at this point is very, very even. You can even see the structures here, once again highlighted by Legend. So both of them playing a really solid game so far, and the only difference that we basically have is that PartinG has a few more Immortals on the map and Flying is relying on his Void Rays more.
Yeah. PartinG gets his Nexus up his 3rd base a little bit faster, and his Twilight Council tech and his Temple Archives much, much further ahead. So that's not going to really matter too much for +2, but the Archons you could have out earlier might have come into play if Flying went for an attack. Notice that PartinG also has the better gas bank because he mined that gas much faster at his natural. And he's actually going to try to pressure here a little bit.
And let's talk about something that Flying does not have. He is not going for any attempts to take a third base. He's getting the Dark Shrine instead. So PartinG now on the move, trying to go to the bottom right and do a little bit of damage, pressuring his opponent. And even if he just buys himself a bit of time, that will mean that his third is going to finish and he can start to capitalize on that increased economy.
Uh-oh, this is not a place PartinG wants to be right now. He actually will need to recall, but he doesn't know it. He doesn't know it, and it may be too late by the time he does find out. I thought for a second he might have realized, but he's just going to walk back. He still has no idea that Flying's army is coming. He lost his observer earlier. He has no idea this army is coming towards his third base.
He should just take down that Immortal and recall. He will have to recall either way, I feel, if he wants to get in a really good position.
He just doesn't know yet. I think he's starting to realize now.
I think he saw it already, didn't he? Like, at this point he should know, but he actually gets back just in time. Problem is really the ramp here. If PartinG wants to go down that ramp and force fields are being used by Flying, they could put him in the bad spot. Oh, but he has the Archons already, so they can break through.
He also has the overcharge since he didn't use the recall on the Mothership core. He's got double of those, and Flying, not only did he not really get anything done here, but he's losing more and more time on that third base he doesn't have because there's a Stalker blocking it.
It's a question whether those DTs will be able to do something for Flying, and that would help him quite a bit. We don't have too many observers on the map for PartinG, but he's getting another one, and even with that, that's also something that could do quite a significant amount of damage if microed correctly. The War Prism here with the Immortal drop.
Yeah, it could be very distracting because he's still continuing to poke with these units. Anytime there's an army that has any Void Rays in it, it can do so much damage to structures very quickly. Picks off the Observer as well here. And which is really important if the Observers are gone, the DTs. Oh, nice feedback there. I love that.
Really well done. And here comes the drop in the main base on the other hand. He can take down that one cannon immediately, and that's exactly what he does. Here come those warp ins,
DTs.
Here come those DTs.
He targets the Nexus. This is such a smart idea. He kills the cannon and targets the Nexus. PartinG has an Observer nearby, but I think there may be too much DPS, especially with the Immortals helping out.
Yeah, the War Prism is already gone. All those units will die eventually, but not before they take out the Nexus. And PartinG also can't move his entire army into the main base, since Flying is just waiting for him to abandon the choke point.
Yeah, and the Immortals just continue to do damage. Even the DT alive here still. He sends his Stalkers up, but the attack is good at the natural, and Flying, great multitasking here, needs to target with those Void Rays.
Great timings here for Flying. He's moving in again. The Guardian shields up for both players, and now here comes the target from the Immortal by PartinG, doing a great job here. The Void Rays moving in, but Flying actually losing a lot of supply, even though he did a lot of damage to the main base of PartinG.
Yeah, he used a lot of his resource for those DTs, and don't forget this whole time, yeah, he killed the Nexus, but PartinG has had a fully saturated third base.
A lot of structures completely unpowered in the main. We don't even have that upgrade for charge finishing because of it. PartinG needs to send one of those probes into the main base and start pylons again. But still, he has a 20 supply lead at this point. And the most important thing is he has this third base.
Yeah.
And that, of course, acts like this puts him in a position where he's also on two mining bases. But we just saw the mineral patches in the main base of Flying, and then are about to be depleted.
Yeah, if Flying had gotten a little bit more done with his attack at the natural, then this would have been so worth it for him. But as it stands, Flying is in a terrible position because PartinG has remade that base. Upgrades right now, +2 for both players. Flying has charge, though, something that PartinG does not have yet because his Twilight Council was unpowered.
Yeah, at this point, it's really, the income is much better for PartinG because he has two fully saturated bases, whereas in the main base of Flying, one of his sources of income, we don't have all the mineral patches anymore. And now both of them are getting another Nexus, but PartinG is already now up 30 supply, and this is just going to increase over time.
With his Phoenix Scout here, he sees that he has an opportunity to move in here because he has much larger of an army than his opponent. I mean, he has about 3,000 more resources in cost in that army. He has so many more Archons. Just looking at the Spy Loan doesn't even tell the whole story.
PartinG forcing a cancel on the Nexus. And this further puts Flying behind a great position for the SKT1 Protoss. He's about to finish his charge upgrade. He rebuilt those pylons in the main base to power the Twilight Council. This is a great position for him. He's in a dominant position on this map right now. There's no question about it. Even the DT in the main base is not going to change anything about it.
Yeah, can't do anything here. 0 kills. And PartinG just has so many Archons. He has 6 Archons to 3, making even additional ones right now. Making cannons at home just to be safe against the DTs. I like PartinG's position so much here. He just needs to make sure he micros correctly when he attacks. If he attacks, he doesn't have to just yet.
PartinG didn't see the base to the right side just yet, but he might not even have to. He's moving in already, and all those Zealots against the Archons getting a lot of, trying to do a lot of damage, but the splash, the mini splash is just doing too much already. Nice targeting so far by PartinG, doing a great job here, and Flying's army is melting away. He has no chance there. Even the War Prism now coming in, dropping additional Zealots, and things are looking grim for Flying.
GG, PartinG just playing the better game there. He had the faster third. that moment, there were two moments